You're listening to Mad Radio. Mad Radio. Mad Radio. Make a difference.
Quick, me lads! Hoist the rigging! Aye, Captain! Splice the main brace! Aye, Captain! Batten down the hatches!
Aye, Captain!
I'm going below deck to get the show started. And now, the man with more rolls than a Costco bakery. It's Mr. Jelly Belly himself, Brandon McCarty.
Well, thank you, Petey. Jeez. Hey, welcome in, all you scallywags, you swashbucklers, landlubbers, hornswogglers, and salty dogs to the Peg Leg Podcast, a show where we delve into the lives of fellow pirates and learn a bit more about the unsung heroes among us all. Arr! This week we travel to the Enrollment Services, oh yeah, to speak with an individual who was born and raised in the Central Valley. She graduated from Sierra High School in Manteca. She is an MJC alumni. She has a BS and MBA from Stan State. She worked at Stan State, actually, in a variety of student affairs positions from 2009 to 2017, and she'll tell us more about all of that stuff. She was the MJC Director of Admissions and Records from 2017 to 2021. She has coordinated a toy drive when she was in high school that turned out to be much larger than expected and landed in the newspaper. She says about herself that she's an excellent salesperson. She sold the most chocolate bars in elementary school. She has hiked Vernal Falls in Yosemite. Maybe we'll get into the travel portion of that. She is a pretty good skier, although she got caught in a snowstorm and was traumatized. She likes spending time with family and friends. She'd rather be with her dog, Nova. She's a pit bull. She has traveled to Mexico, Europe, and next on the list is Bora Bora. She is a Disneyland fanatic. Well, I know we've had one of those before, but we'll pick her brain on that as well. She could eat churros all day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the poop deck, the Dean of Enrollment Services, Angelica Guzman.
Hi.
And she's a little shy. Well, all right. Well, we'll just start right with the questions.
Okay.
So, Angelica, how did you find your way to MJC?
So, like you mentioned in the beginning, I'm an MJC alum.
Okay.
So I came to MJC right after graduating high school. I had plans to go out of state and maybe try out a private four-year institution, but that didn't work out. And so I decided to stay local. Started going to MJC, eventually transferred. I started working at Stan State for several years. And when I was at Stan State, I worked really closely with transfer students. Transfer students hold a special place in my heart. So then I knew what it took for a transfer student to get to Stan State or a four-year institution, but I was really interested in the process that students went through while they were at the community college. And so being local, born and raised here, attending MJC myself, I started looking into opportunities or options to make my way back to the community college here in Modesto. I actually applied for a couple positions before I became the Director of Admissions and Records. And for one reason or another, maybe one didn't work out. And then eventually, one seemed to be working out in my favor. I started going through the recruitment process, but with the timeline that they were going through at the time, I was wrapping up a grant at Stan State. And so when you wrap up a grant, there's reporting, we're writing a new one, and there was changes in the department. And so at that time, had I left, I would have left my new director at the time at Stan State in a really bad position if I would have taken this one at MJC. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right at the time. So I decided to decline the opportunity. So I had walked away from a position I had been trying to get into at MJC for a few years. And a year later, the position for Director of Admissions and Records came open. And so I decided that this was my opportunity. I wasn't going to walk away from it again. And I wanted to try, my chances and go through the process and see what happened. And this time it worked out in my favor.
So you were meant to be here.
Yes.
That's exactly
I
what
think
I'm
so.
hearing. Yeah, and it's really come full circle. You're really now you get to give back to those who've you've been a part of the process. So that's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, I enjoy it.
So where did you grow up?
Well, I primarily grew up in Manteca.
Mansteca.
Manteca.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Manteca when I was young. I was born in the Bay Area, and so we lived there until I was about 3-4 years old, and then my parents moved back to the Central Valley. So they were born and raised here, moved away for a few years after they got married. So then we moved back to the area and moved into Manteca. So I grew up there. Basically, all of my young childhood memories are, growing up in Manteca. Went to elementary school there in the area, high school. And so my family has really strong roots here in the Central Valley. Both my parents went to MJC, my aunts, my uncles. And so everyone in my family seems to be a product of the community college system, and especially MJC here locally.
It's a family affair.
Yes.
Look at that. What are some of your hobbies outside of work?
Hobbies outside of work. So I can't say that work is a hobby.
No.
Even though I enjoy it. So some hobbies outside of work are probably definitely spending time with family and friends. Family is really important to me. So anytime I can incorporate them into, anything that I'm doing, I definitely try to do that. So any opportunity I have to spend with family, I definitely try to find any excuse to spend time with them. And let's see, some other hobbies that I enjoy are, I wouldn't say that I'm fit, but I like to be active. And so anything that I can do to, get kind of exercise, to get, things off of my mind, that mental health and, wellness. I have a stationary bike, so I like to, definitely jump on that frequently, usually before and after work. So start my day, getting a sweat in and getting my mind ready for the day, and then, try to close out that day in the same way, getting that exercise in.
Right.
Traveling is definitely a hobby of mine. I enjoy experiences, and so anytime I get an opportunity to be spontaneous, take the day away or get out of town, anything I can do to try and experience, things even here locally, anything I can try to do to experience where I'm at. I enjoy doing things like that. So I have a dog. Her name is Nova. She's a pit bull. She'll be 2 years old in November. And so I have made it a hobby to figure out how to train my dog. And so, had a couple dogs before in the past, and none of them were ever trained. But, this dog seems to be, living the life of luxury, getting all this, training. And I guess I don't have any kids, so I spend like all my
Right.
time and money on her. So, learning tips and tricks on how to train your dog and things like that has become a hobby, because you'd be surprised what you find out there on YouTube. So,
Oh, I bet.
yeah, plethora of stuff out there. I would say another hobby is flowers. So I'm by no means a florist or an expert, but I enjoy, getting my hands in flowers, making arrangements, picking different colors and designs, trying different things out. I've done flowers for a couple of friends, weddings. And so I, at one point, thought I would go that direction years ago before, going down this route in higher education. So maybe in another life I would have been a florist. And there's lots of shows on Netflix and like HBO Max right now on floral design shows. And sometimes I think like,
Really?
I could have been on there, but that wasn't the case. So I really enjoy doing that in my spare time also.
Dang. Well, now I know what to do when I have my next wedding. Not
Next
that,
week.
Not that I'm going to have another one. I'll come to you, though, if any of my kids decide to
Okay.
get married or
Okay,
something.
perfect. I'll give you a good deal.
Okay. What is something that you pride yourself in?
I would say something that I pride myself in is, and I guess this is kind of going back to the family thing, is being a good sister. So I'm the oldest of four. We're all adults. So my youngest sibling is 23, going on 24. But I've, growing up was always told, you're the oldest, you set an example, take care of your sisters and your brother. And, so those were the things that my parents always told me growing up. And I think when I was younger, it probably felt like a chore. I had to watch them or babysit them, or they had to chaperone me or like go out with me or something like that. But, over time, it turned into just, a beautiful relationship, or, really strong relationships with my siblings. And so they, rely on me, and they come to me for advice, or I'm kind of the first person they go to before they would ever ask like my parents something, So, I pride myself on being a good sister. So I definitely prioritize them. I, make myself available to them. So kind of like I mentioned earlier, spending time with family is really important to me. And so, I think I can say I'm a really good big sister. So I pride myself in that.
What about do you have like a third cousin, like twice removed? Do you need another person?
Oh, you want to be my
Yeah,
sibling?
yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, you let me know when you need advice.
Excellent. I will let you know. What motivates you?
So I would say what motivates me is my family. So going back to family again. So I would say that my parents motivate me, and so they have sacrificed like so much for me to change the trajectory of my life. Both of my parents grew up, low income, poor, in the fields, here, locally, right, in the Stanislaus County. And so they, did so much to change the path that my life, would go. And so they wanted something different for me and my siblings. They were very hardworking, and had, maybe even if that wouldn't have been the case, like I know that they instilled, work ethic and being a hardworking person, someone that, that is reliable, trustworthy, someone that someone else can depend on. And so, they have done so much for me. And so that really motivates me. And so I think about what I can do to give back or change the life of somebody else. And maybe it won't be in the same impact that maybe a parent or sibling can make on someone else, but I guess you just never know what your actions could do to positively impact somebody else. And so, I would say that definitely motivates me.
That might be the best answer yet I've heard. It's possible. What do you like about the MJC community?
So the MJC community, what I like is, working at MJC, you meet a lot of people. And as you meet, new folks, you learn about them and develop relationships with them. And you come to find out that they live in Modesto, went to MJC, grew up in the area, or there's these connections amongst community. And, it's like, oh, come to find out that, oh, I didn't know so-and-so was related, to this person, or was, I went to high school with that person. And so you see and hear a lot of that. And so, what's that saying that, small world, or, what a small world, and it's true. And so I like working at an institution where it feels like people come back to serve because they want to make a difference, or they want to give back to the community that invested in them. And so I definitely like that about MJC, is that you feel that and you have that culture there. I've worked at other institutions of higher education, and or worked really closely with people from other institutions of higher education. And
Sure.
and you don't really hear that at other places. I'm sure maybe it exists, but in my experience so far, it seems unique to MJC.
Where are some of your favorite places to eat?
Okay.
Is this going to be a list?
Well, sometimes people tease me when they find out one of my favorite places. So whenever in doubt, Panda Express.
Okay.
So I love Panda Express.
What do you get there?
Usually orange chicken and chow mein.
Do you? I get the I get the half and half. I get the fried rice or the white rice with the chow mein, and yeah, definitely orange chicken.
Yes. Just depends on whatever maybe looks the freshest, but definitely orange chicken. And it's not even that I am particularly like Chinese food or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. They put something in it that makes it like addicting probably.
It's MSG. That's not what it is. Okay, so Panda.
Okay, so Panda Express.
Yeah.
I really enjoy pizza. So like bread and cheese probably.
Yes.
Or even just grilled cheese. So bread and cheese are probably like my next thing. So anywhere where I know that they have a good pizza, or that I can get pizza or a grilled cheese is probably like my next.
Is there a place that's a go-to for where you order from, and then so do they? I don't think there's a lot of places that have both. So maybe they do.
So for pizza, I would say in town, Michael's is really good. The Masterpiece is delicious.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know why, but Mimi's Cafe, the grilled cheese and tomato basil soup is really good there.
Have you been to Velvet Creamery?
Yeah.
They've got the mega grilled cheese there.
Oh, see, whenever I've gone there, it's for dessert.
Oh.
Not
You have to try their mega grilled cheese.
okay.
Like if you're going to be, I'm telling you right now.
But there's two here in town, and I hear one is better than the other.
The one on Dale Road. Better.
Is better.
Yeah.
Okay, next to Trader Joe's.
Right.
Okay.
That's the one.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay.
And then I would say after that, here in town for sure, Camp 4. That's a default.
Ooh. I agree. You're right.
And they have grilled cheese on the menu.
Perfect. Tell us a funny story or experience, either professionally or personally.
Okay. So, well, I wouldn't, at the time, this wasn't funny.
Okay.
But now looking back on it, I can laugh. And so maybe it's funny now. So for my honeymoon,
Yeah.
we went to Cancun, and we went to this water park in Cancun. So we had, jump through all these hoops to get the day organized and go on this excursion. And the water park was probably like a 2-hour drive. And on the drive there, it starts to rain, but it's, it's tropical. It was
Right.
a rainy season, quote unquote, right? And the way they talk about the rain is like, oh, it comes, it cools it down, and it goes away. It's like, oh, okay, that's not a big deal. So on this day, it happened to sprinkle on the way there. And, then it kind of stopped. And it's like, oh, okay, we made our first stop, and it was nice. And then we get back on the bus to finish our, getting to the water park. But then it starts raining harder and steady, and it doesn't stop.
Ooh.
And at first, you're there and you're at a water park, and you're like, well, you're supposed to be in the water. We're going to get wet anyways. It's not that terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just go. We'll just enjoy the water park. So that didn't happen. And it's this steady light rain turns into a thunderstorm.
Ooh.
And a severe thunderstorm. Okay. And I remember having, this life jacket on, and we're climbing up this little hill to go on, this big old slide that's going to throw you into the Mayan River. And these sirens start going off, and they're trying to collect all the people to take them back to this building. Where they were handing out towels that were soaking wet because they're trying to dry you, but it's storming, raining.
Yeah.
And then we we're walking back, and all we see are these people that are in these humongous floaties in the river. And there's poles, like, the people that work there were bringing people back in with, like, by poles and just dragging people in. And you just, like, you can't even open your eyes because it's raining so hard.
Really?
Yes, it was terrible. It was so scary. And imagine like a movie, right? You're in this building and they're keeping you inside and you can't go out, and the rain just won't stop, and we can't get back on the bus for them to take us back to the resort. So we were stuck there all day, and it stormed all day long. It was terrible.
Dang.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking all day.
All day.
So what did you do?
We sat there with talking to a bunch of strangers. Yeah, we couldn't go anywhere. So we just sat there. We tried to make the best of it. But I, at the time, didn't have a really good attitude. So I didn't really make the best out of the situation. It was a terrible experience.
Did they feed you guys?
Honestly, I don't remember. And even if they did, I was probably so upset that what I was going through that I probably would have refused to eat. Yeah. But it was really scary. And so then we finally, 8 hours later, get back on the bus. It's still raining the whole bus ride back to the resort. And then the morning, it's blue skies, and it was like as if the storm never happened.
Wow.
But in that moment, it just felt like a disaster. Humongous disaster. I wanted my money back. I don't remember right now if they gave it back to me or not, but it was terrible.
So you never made it to that slide then?
No.
You didn't go back?
No, we paid to go there, and I saw other people, but nope, never experienced it for myself. And so now I'm still kind of traumatized. So I haven't gone back to Cancun or back over there, but maybe I'll try it one day. But who knows? I might get stormed on again.
Dang it. Who has been your biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
So I'll give a professional experience. So I would say my biggest influence professionally was a supervisor that I had at Stan State. And so I actually met her. She was in she might have been like in a staff or manager position at the time. I don't remember, but I was still a student there. And so our paths had crossed, and I was looking for a part-time position while I was finishing school. And so somehow I got connected with her, and she worked in the admissions and outreach there at Stan State. And so she hired me as a student worker. And so at the time, I just worked on, things, support that they needed throughout the office, phones, emails, helping to deliver mail, like other things like that. And so as I continued to work with her, she really took me under her wing and found opportunities to expose me to different things, just so that I could, get the taste of working in an office and how to, conduct myself professionally. Even in my student worker position, we provided, I responded to people in the community or externally, right? You would come into the campus. And so, she wasn't afraid to give me that, I don't know if I want to call it tough love, but, she corrected me when I needed to. She gave me feedback, told me when I was, doing well, and then told me where I could improve. And so then that relationship just kind of continued. We connected, we just had a really good connection, and I really trusted her. And it came time to graduate, and I was applying to my MBA program at the time. And I wasn't, going to school again, still continuing to go to school full time. I was I kind of wanted to work part time still. And so I connected back with her and she kept me on. So I was doing my MBA. I was working with her for a little bit, still part-time, but giving me some more responsibility, different roles and things like that. It was like on a contract at that point since I had already graduated with my bachelor's degree.
Ooh, okay.
And then an opportunity came open to work in the office full-time. And so I had probably done about a year and a half, 2 years worth of like working part-time with her while I was finishing and then starting to go back to school for my master's. So when that opportunity came available, she, really helped me prepare to apply for that and, jump into a role like that. And then again, so she was my supervisor at the time, and this time I was working full time. And so there's definitely different expectations and responsibilities. And so, she always had that, that work relationship with me where she would guide me, give me feedback, expose me to new things. And just as I continued to grow and was ready to take on new tasks, she, continued to help grow me and develop me professionally. And that relationship kind of continued the entire time that I worked at Stan State. And so, she's still someone that I connect with now on a regular basis. Now our paths cross differently, on a professional level. And so it's nice to have that relationship and contact with someone at Stan State. And, she's just, someone that I know that will give me the feedback that I need or advice that I need. Even now, right? If I'm struggling with something and not sure how to approach it or need feedback or advice because she's done it for so long, that I know that I have someone that I can lean on.
What's her name?
Her name is Gabby Nuno.
All right. Gabby. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's exactly what managers should be doing, right, for their employees.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. If you had a free plane ticket to anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Okay. I would want to go to so many places.
Well, you have to pick one.
I know. And when I read the question, I was thinking about it. Like the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh, Disneyland. I would go there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But then you're like anywhere. So like, okay, let me expand my horizons a little bit beyond Disneyland. So Tahiti is like on my bucket list. And so I want to stay in one of those bungalows like over the water.
Okay.
And where you can like walk out of your room and like jump into the ocean.
I hear the crabs come in at night and they just go click, 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 click across the floor.
Okay,
Is that
so
true?
I don't know, but there was this movie. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
But there's this movie, probably on Netflix or something like that, where this couple basically goes to a place like that, and then there's a storm, and then a hurricane or something, and then their bungalow gets swept away into the middle of the ocean, and they're goners. So then I don't know if that's a great idea, but that probably hasn't happened in my lifetime, so I think I still might go for it.
Okay. Tahiti. Okay. Well, you said Disneyland, and so let's talk about that for a minute. You are a Disneyland fanatic. Why? What's the allure of Disneyland?
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a couple of years, but yeah, I've been there.
You walk in and you hear the music. You're going down Main Street. You smell the popcorn and the churros. There's just, I don't know, something so nostalgic about it, probably for me.
So do you have a particular area that you love to visit?
No, I have to go everywhere. I have to do it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're there. It's like multiple days, right?
Yes.
You can't get it all done in one day. You
No.
have to really just kind of be immersed into the.
That should be a sin, going for one day only.
Right.
2 days minimum.
Now, Danelle Oliver said that when you go in, you go down Main Street, but then you hang a left instead of a right. She says everybody goes to the right because the street is wider, and it's a smaller path to the left. But if you go left, you can get on all of those rides like I think it's Adventureland or something, right?
yeah.
And so you've got Indiana Jones and
Yep.
everything. She says, go to the left. Don't go with the crowds to the right.
I'm trying to think my path. So I probably go that way to the left, but not necessarily because I go on all the rides quicker. Indiana Jones is like my husband's favorite. So after we get a Starbucks, then we have to go straight to Indiana Jones.
So Starbucks is the first thing that you have to do when you get to Disneyland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If you had 3 albums that you could listen to for the rest of your life, and only 3, which albums would those be and why?
Okay, so I struggled with this question also.
Okay.
So I really enjoy music, and for the most part, I can listen to anything.
Grunge, heavy metal.
I think I can have it on the background, like for like a piece of a song.
Okay.
You know, but I wouldn't. That would probably stress me out if I listened to it all day. So I wouldn't be able to do that. But I really enjoy music, so that's the first thing I do when I get into the office.
Okay, but you only have 3 albums for the rest of your life. So
okay, so I'm not good with album names.
Okay.
But I really enjoy genres. 90s is my jam. I love 90s.
Okay.
Can listen to it all day. This is so hard because I really like Belle Biv DeVoe.
Okay.
Keith Sweat. Yeah, those are my favorite.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Belle Biv DeVoe,
Uh-huh.
Keith Sweat,
Mhm.
and again, this is it. You have to listen to these guys for the rest of your life. Like this is it.
Ooh, Boys to Men. Yes.
Boys to Men.
There we go.
Wow, those 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
on repeat.
Okay. Dang, that's only one genre, really.
Have you listened to it?
Yes.
I'll send you my I'll send you a link on Spotify so you can.
So what's your playlist called?
I think I just have it labeled as 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you have any parting words of encouragement?
So some parting words of encouragement, I would say, are to find, what your North Star is. Whatever that guiding principle or that thing that motivates you or that thing that gets you up in the morning, whatever that might be, I would say to really hold on to that and do what you can to nourish and grow that, because, in my experience, that always produces positivity in the end. So despite the bumps or challenges or hard times, if you can get back to your North Star or that thing that anchors you, then you can reshift and get your balance again, and just continue to go through this thing that we call life.
Brilliant answer. Look at that. My goodness, you're so good. Hey, Angelica, thank you so much for being on the podcast and for giving us a window into your life.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully I did okay. I was really
You did just fine.
I was really nervous, so I'll be nervous to listen to myself after.
Well, the winds are picking up and the barnacles are collecting on the bow. Time for us to set sail, me hearties. This episode was brought to you by Doc and Marty's Travel Center. Produced by Hey, I'm a one-man band. Edited by That Pain in the Neck, Patchy the Parrot. And music by the Crimson Mild Bell Pepper Quartet. Hey, that is all we have for this week's show. And again, we always need your input to keep this thing moving along. So drop us a line at peglegpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, remember to keep your booty close and your sword sharp, lest you find yourself swabbing the deck on the bottom of Davy Jones's locker. Until we meet again.